Hi.
Hi.
We're here again.
We're back on the couch. We're talking about social media. Big topic.
Yes, the evolution of social media. Especially over the last 5 to 6 years, we've seen a lot of changes. So we thought it's a good opportunity to go over some of these changes that we've been seeing and how we have to adapt to it, change our strategies. So today is a good time to
get into it. Let's
go
do that.
over it. Yeah.
You had lots to say about it when we were talking about it earlier, so I'm excited to hear all the things that we've noticed. We've been in the space now for 6 years. Social media is what we do. We're a social first agency, so we have our finger on the pulse. We know what's going on.
Originally, when social was happening, we could see a lot of images and aesthetics and beautiful feeds that used to be the trend, and how you could get followers and how you could get your content liked and engagement with. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
What do we see now?
Videos.
Short form videos are the key right now, and that's the only thing that's helping higher reach. It's helping with engagement. It's taken over.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Before, the attention was on these perfectly curated feeds, right? These content creators would spend a lot of time making sure that their colors and their theme and everything was just like perfectly curated. But over time, that's been shifted. I think a lot of the viewers have noticed that, when it's so perfect and it's just so, immaculately presented, it's not maybe as real, and people have really asked for more real content. They want to see real people talking about real things, real subjects, and so that's shifted towards a more realistic feed. It doesn't really matter how perfect your feed looks anymore, curated. So yeah, the shift has been more to like real topics, talking about things that are a bit more heavy maybe even, or things that are experienced by a larger audience. People just really enjoy to hear more authentic topics.
Having a beautiful aesthetically looking grid was enough, but now because there's so much content is being produced by everybody, and there's lots of videos are being produced as well, it's not just enough to put a trendy audio with a video anymore either. I feel like we've also passed that. Your content has to have like value in it. It needs to show personality, like you said, the culture, the behind the scenes. It needs to either be educational, inspirational, or relatable. And if it doesn't include these 3 aspects to it, it won't get as many engagement as before. Let's talk about engagement, I think, for a second. It was just a lot easier in the past to get likes and comments, but that's not the experience that we're seeing anymore.
Right.
Likes and comments are not the measure of success, or number of followers are not measure of success anymore. And I think we can talk about how Instagram, the For You page, I believe that was when things shifted from a follower-based feed to now having more content-first feed that we're seeing. The number of followers are also not as important now.
So what is more important? Tell me, like, if likes and engagement, if likes and comments aren't as key anymore, what are things that people can look at for measurement?
The engagement that we're seeing happening right now, it's a bit more quiet engagement. So you notice like people share stuff in the DMs with their friends or colleagues, or having those conversations behind the scene and messaging and showcasing that. So sharing is a really key indicator right now.
And DMs.
Sharing through DMs and having conversations behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's huge.
Being able to nurture the audience that you have and having them within the groups that they are, or even building your own groups, is really important to be able to keep some sort of a real conversation. Yes, community first.
Yeah, that's huge. I've definitely noticed that building some sort of groups or building your own community helps you get more visibility. It helps your content reach more. It helps your page be exposed to new viewers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. What else are you noticing? So we have new measurements to keep track of how posts are doing. You want to talk a little bit more about videos?
I think one of the new things that we've been noticing lately is the fact that the production value of videos, of not that it needs to be high quality production, it still needs to be real. For a time we had like a 3 to 5 second video reels with like a little bit of a caption text over video. It was enough. That's all you needed to get like a higher trend and following those trends. But now I find the quality of work is more important now over quantity. So focusing on intentionally posting, not just posting because you must post every day, but finding exactly what is the intention behind this and why you're trying to speak to your audience, and spend enough time on it to give them the value that they need, whether it's entertainment, if it's educational, or if it's for relatability purposes. Make sure you at least hit one of those key points.
Right. Another thing I've been noticing, and something that like we're trying to push on some of the accounts that we're working on, is not only having a niche, so being really good at the one thing that you're doing. So you know, if you are clothing brand, if you are product based, like if you have like a star, you know, that's your product, to really highlight that and make that like your focus. But also have a person be the face of it. So if you have a brand that you're pushing, if there's a company, there is someone that can be designated as the face. And so this helps people come back to your page with recognition and familiarity, to know like, okay, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna see this person and they're gonna talk about that one thing. And it really, really narrows down your audience, and it just brings some focus into the message that you're sharing, and people know what they're coming back to see and hear about.
Nobody wants to follow a logo. They don't want to see like a business. You know, there's faceless brands that when you get really big, like Coca-Cola, yes, of course, you don't need to have a person behind the brand. The brand itself is the character. But for most businesses, you need to have a relatability. You need to have that personality. So that's why UGC, it was really key, and it's been going well because it gives brand a voice, a person that the audience can relate to. New faces are actually employee generated content now as well, which is really, if you have the staff and if you have a team who are able to contribute. But speaking of UGC, did you know that this year was the first year that user-generated content ad spend went over traditional paid advertising?
Wow.
Yeah, companies are now putting aside budget for specifically for UGC content because it just performs so much better than any type of great creative advertising that is out there.
That's great. And I have something to say for all the content creators out there, for the influencers out there who are, you know, spending a lot of time and energy, I think, like putting together like really personalized information. Like it's they're sharing their experience, want to hear personal experiences rather than obviously like a company just like pushing something.
100%. Didn't we see a reel about that Greek restaurant that a gentleman would just walked into a restaurant and he had a really good experience? I just came from Greece and this is better gyros I've had here. One reel went viral for them. It's in our neighborhood, and every time I drive by, it's like, that parking lot is happening.
Because of a really good video.
It's authentic. It was a testimonial that appeared very genuine. UGC content, I can see why people are putting a lot more advertising dollars towards that, because they use the audience, the viewers, they resonate with the message.
So let's talk about AI though. How does AI fit into some social media contents and what we're seeing happening?
Generative AI came into the picture a couple years ago, but you can see the volume of content that's being generated that's just increased dramatically. Like LinkedIn posts have increased a lot more. It is a good tool that a lot of people can use to generate more content for sure, but as you know, probably you've experienced, if you do not give AI the right prompts, the right information, the right asks, all the content will become very similar. Like everything sounds similar. If there's no depth to it, everything just becomes really surface level.
I was also thinking about some of the like videos and pictures that are now AI generated, and even some platforms that are encouraging like only AI generated content. I'm curious to see how this is all gonna merge, or how it's gonna work out, because UGC, like you said, is doing so well. That's still real. People still want the real stuff. But then there was this huge attention on AI
Yeah.
right now, and people just, I think, are just like more fascinated with it, like what the capacity, like what AI can actually do, more than like, oh, this is going to be like information that I want to absorb from an AI. You still want a human to tell you, give you their experience and give you, you know, their expertise.
Yeah, definitely. There should always be fact checking everything as well. That's my biggest worry, is like if we rely on AI so much that whatever it tells us we take as 100%, because a lot of time it hallucinates and tells you information and you ask it again and it's like, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I'm like, that can't be right. So absolutely, having somebody knowledgeable, like the person that is reviewing the information, reviewing the results, being able to fact check it or double check it, make sure it's accurate. I think it's still important now that we're still in the early stages. My worry is that we'll get content fatigue from the users. We're already seeing that because there's just so much information and so much things coming at us at all times.
Yeah.
Having this one new layer of creating content just so much easier, and everybody can do it now. I feel like as viewers, as users ourselves on socials and on different platforms, I'm worried we'll get fatigued by all this overwhelming amount of information and content that's coming.
That's a really good point, and I think it's already kind of happening, especially with the younger generation. But there's also like new trends about like just carrying a bag with things that you would do instead of being on social. Have you heard of this?
No.
Yeah, it's just like really creative ways like young people are thinking to spend their time on rather than being on social media. So that's one thing I've heard about. Another trend is like attaching your phone, so it feels like a home landline. So you're not on your phone as much and you only use it when you sit there by the wall or something.
We're going
backwards. But it's because of what you said. It's like there's this content fatigue. It's like, how much time am I going to be spending on this screen? And like, you know, I think you become more aware of it. Especially the younger. I really do think like the younger generation are going to teach us some things about how much time we are spending on our screens. So this will be interesting the way it pans out. I think AI has a lot to do with this. So it'll be interesting to see the continuation of social media, how it continues to evolve.
Yeah, if things do change again, and so I think hopefully we'll get to experience this, and we'll be the generation that experienced life without technology during and post.
Yeah,
so,
that's who we are.
Let's see how quickly this goes. This trend of wanting to shift or reduce tech use, which is, it's crazy the amount of content I consume, and I feel like we're always in consumption mode. We don't give space for ideation or creation, and if you're not creating, then that's when we're always, I feel like, really low or down, or not myself. It's when I have spent a lot of time just like consuming information, content, TV, anything, just spending too much time on screen. So I'm glad the younger generation has picked up on this and are making a choice to step away from it or try other things, whether it's creating something, touching grass outside, or whatever the case may be. But it's good.
Yeah, I think social media has to come back to being used as a tool and not as the only source of, you know, entertainment or communication, connection. There are so many other things outside of that realm, and social media has to be used as a tool for us to be able to, connect, and businesses to be able to grow and share their messages. Like, there's so many things that it can be used on a good thing. One of the things that we had on our notes here that we want to talk about that I don't think we touched on was the social search.
Previously, like if you were looking for a new business, you're looking for in your neighborhood near you, like a restaurant or a designer or a contractor, where would you go? You would go to Google, right? More and more recently, I find that if I'm looking for something new, I'm not going to Google anymore. I go to social and I search because I'm looking for videos. I want to see what other people are saying about that specific topic that I'm interested in, or the specific service or business that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I would say social, Google,
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
All of the above.
Yeah.
For me, again, I guess it comes to like restaurants. If I want reviews, if I want to know testimonials, if I want to learn if something is good, like if I'm interested in buying a product, I go to YouTube and I try to look up reviews, let's say, for example, and watch video. For me, I much rather watch and listen versus read. So I'm not, going to a website about page and trying to read about a company versus going to their social media and just checking out their feed just to get a feel for the culture, the brand, the people behind it. So search as in doing research on a new business product or a place. Social is now taking priority over just Google and reading websites and reading texts and blogs about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point because, again, I think Google has changed in the last little while too. Like when you do a search on Google, it'll just give you like that summarized version or something, when you're searching, like when you have a question, it just gives you that like summarized answer. I still use Google, but yes, when I do want to get a feel for a company, when I'm about to hire someone or work with someone, I do check social because I'm a visual person, so I want to see visually like who they are, what they do, what they look like, what their culture is like.
A lot has changed, especially in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And it changes and it evolves pretty much, I think, every year or every 6 months to a year. We're learning new techniques and tactics that we have to adapt to or shift. So in order to stay relevant, but the biggest part in all of this is to keep in mind social is a tool, as you said, and the reason we are using it is to be able to make connection, build trust, and or educate people that we're trying to connect with. So you have to use it as like an opportunity for yourself or for your business to be able to connect better with somebody else. You have the opportunity for them to see you, get to know you, learn about you before ever stepping foot into your stores or clicking a link to see your website and read about you. So take that opportunity as best as you can, and quantity no longer matters. Like go foot forward with quality and having a strategy and knowing exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish when you want to share something on social.
Well said. Exactly. Yes. So let's end on that note. Yes, great. See you next time on the couch.